Welcome students. Today we are entering into the another topic, that is a hypothesis testing for two sample test. First I will explain what is the theory behind this two sample test. When you look at this picture, see there are two population. There are population 1 and population 2. Suppose if I take some sample from population 1, I am taking sample and finding sample mean, I am calling it as x1 bar, that is a sigma x divided by n1. There is another population which is in green color. From that I am taking some sample x2, then finding mean of that sample by using this formula sigma x2 divided by n2. Okay. If I plot this is the sampling distribution of x1 bar, the green one is the sampling distribution of x2 bar. Okay. So, the mean of this sampling distribution of x1 bar is mu 1, we can say mu 1. The mean of sampling distribution of x2 is mu 2. The variance is sigma 1 square divided by n1. Okay. Now, what will happen, because this result is, so the variance actually we have to write this way, variance of x1 bar, this is variance of x2 bar. Okay. Suppose if I find the difference of their sample mean, if I plot the difference, that will follow normal distribution. So, the mean of this population is mu 1 minus mu 2. The variance of this population is, so the variance is we have to find the difference of these variance. For population 1, variance is sigma 1 square by n1. For population 2, the variance is sigma 2 square by n2. So, the variance is, if we want to know the difference of the variance of the two population, we have to add the variance. We know that the formula variance of A minus B equal to variance of A plus variance of B. So, the formula if I say variance of A minus B, you might have studied, so variance of A plus variance of B. So, for the first population variance is sigma 1 square by n1, for second population the variance is sigma 2 square by n2. So, this is the variance of this population which is in blue in color. So, we will use this result in coming this one. This is the classification of different two sample test. One classification is population means for independent samples, population mean for dependent samples, population proportions and population variance. In the population mean for independent variables, we will compare group 1 versus group 2, so both the populations are independent. In the population mean for dependent variables, same group before and after the treatment. So, this is dependent samples. In population proportion, there are two population, we will take proportion 1 from population 1, proportion 2 will take another population. Similarly, for comparing variances of two population, we will find the variance of 1 of population 1 versus variance of 2 of population 2. First, we will start with difference between two means. So, the population means for independent sample, there are two possibilities there. One is the sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square is known. Sigma 1 square is variance of population 1, sigma 2 square is variance of population 2. The another category is the variance are unknown. For population 1 and 2, variance are unknown. When variance are unknown, if we can assume it is equal or we can assume it is not equal. If variance of population 1 and 2 is known, we should go for test statistics is a z value. If the variance is unknown, we have to go for t statistics. We will see what are the assumptions for when variance of two populations are known to you. The first assumption is samples are randomly and independently drawn, both the populations are normal. We have seen in the first slide, both the populations are normal, population variance are known but different. When sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square known, we will find out what is the variance of that population. when sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are known, both the populations are normal, the variance of the difference in the variance of population 1 and 2 is nothing but the summation of their variance, that is sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2, which I have already explained. So, corresponding Z statistics is x1 bar minus x2 bar minus mu 1 minus mu 2 divided by sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2 has a standard normal distribution. So, if it is a one sample, what was our formula? If it is a one sample, our formula was like this: Z equal to x bar minus mu divided by sigma by root n. The denominator sigma by root n is called a standard error. So, in this formula, previously for one sample we have taken only one sample, here there is two sample, that is we are finding the difference of the two sample. So, it should be x1 bar minus x2 bar. Previously we have assumed one mean, population mean, now we are going to find the difference of the two population mean, we are going to assume the difference of two populations. So, mu 1 minus mu 2, this standard error sigma by root n is we got from this one. So, this you have to take the square root of this. So, that will become sigma 1 root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. When the population means are independent samples, first we will start from null hypothesis. So, null hypothesis is mu 1 minus mu 2 will have some difference d0. The test statistics for mu 1 minus mu 2 is x1 bar minus x2 bar minus d0. The previously what we had taken, we wrote mu 1 minus mu 2 as it is, but instead of mu 1 minus mu 2 we can write only the difference also here. So, root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. When both the sigma are known to us, there are different types of tests possible. It may be a lower tail test. How we are saying lower tail, see the left one, you see that. The null hypothesis is mu 1 greater than or equal to mu 2. Alternative hypothesis is mu 1 less than mu 2. So, this will be a left tail test. Otherwise, you can bring this mu 2 to the left side. So, it will be mu 1 minus mu 2 greater than or equal to 0. Alternative hypothesis is mu 1 minus mu 2 less than 0. Then we will see upper tail test. So, mu h naught is mu 1 minus mu 2, h1 is mu 1 greater than mu 2. We can find the difference mu 1 minus mu 2 less than or equal to 0, mu 1 minus mu 2 greater than or equal to 0. It is a right tail test. Here we can have an assumption that mu 1 equal to mu 2 and mu 1 not equal to mu 2. If you bring on left hand side, it will be mu 1 minus mu 2 equal to 0, then mu 1 minus mu 2 not equal to 0. We will see this different test pictorially. The decision rule for the left tail test is reject h naught if the calculated z value is less than minus z alpha. The decision rule for the right tail test is reject h naught if the calculated z value is greater than z alpha. For a two tail test, reject h naught if z value is less than minus z alpha by 2 or z value is greater than z alpha by 2. Any one can happen. So, this distribution is sampling distribution of difference of two samples. So, the mean of this distribution is mu of x1 bar minus x2 bar. The standard deviation of this distribution is sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. This already I have explained how we have got this values. For the sampling distribution of difference of two population mean, the expected value is E of x1 bar minus x2 bar equal to mu 1 minus mu 2. So, the standard deviation is already we have seen root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. The interval estimate is x1 bar minus x2 bar plus or minus z alpha by 2 root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. This was for two sample. If it is a one sample, what was the, you remember that it is x bar plus or minus z alpha by 2 sigma by root n. So, this equation just as extended for two sample population. So, instead of x bar we are going to write x1 bar minus x2 bar plus or minus z alpha by 2 will be as it is, the sigma by root n is replaced by sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. So, what I am trying to say is that even though it is a 2 sample Z test, the logic of extending one sample to 2 sample is very easy. You need not remember the formula, just intuitively you can extend the formula. We will do problem on this when sigma 1 and sigma 2 is known. The problem is taken from this book Applied Probability and Statistics for Engineers by Montgomery. A product developer is interested in reducing the drying time of a primer paint. Two formulations of the paint are tested. Formulation 1 is the standard chemistry and formulation 2 has new drying ingredient that should reduce the drying time. From experience, it is known that the standard deviation of drying time is 8 minutes and this inherent variability should be unaffected by the addition of new ingredient. 10 specimens are painted with the formulation 1 and another 10 specimens are painted with the formulation 2. The 20 specimens are painted in random order. The two sample average drying times are x1 bar is 121 minutes, x2 bar is 112 minutes respectively. What conclusions can the product developer draw about the effectiveness of the new ingredient, assuming significance level alpha equal to 0.05. The first step in the hypothesis testing is the quantity of interest is the difference in the mean of drying time. So, mu 1 minus mu 2. If there is no difference, it will become 0. Next, we will form null hypothesis mu 1 minus mu 2 equal to 0 or mu 1 equal to mu 2. That means the mean drying time of ingredient 1 and 2 is same. The alternative hypothesis is mu 1 is greater than mu 2. What we are going to assume that the new ingredient is more efficient, for that the drying time is going to be less. If it is less, so mu 1 will be greater and mu 2 will be lesser. So, we are writing mu 1 greater than mu 2, that is going to be our alternative hypothesis. We want to reject H naught if the new ingredient reduces mean drying time. Fourth step is alpha 5%. Test statistic is x1 bar minus x2 bar minus mu 1 minus mu 2, that is 0, root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. Standard deviation is given 8, so the variance is 64. The sample size is n1, n2 equal to 10. When you supply this sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square, n1 and n2 in this formula, so the rejection rule is if mu 1 equal to mu 2, that is null hypothesis, reject H naught if the test statistics is greater than 1.645. How we got this 1.645? Because you see that this test is right tail test. So, right tail test means it will be like this. So, when alpha equal to 0.05, corresponding z value is 1.645. If the calculated z is greater than 1.645, we have to reject our null hypothesis. Next, we will compute our calculated z, otherwise test statistics. After supplying x1 and x2, we are getting 2.52. So, 2.52 will be in the rejection side. So, we have to reject null hypothesis. You see that 2.52 is lying on the rejection side. The decision is we have to reject null hypothesis by comparing the critical value. The same problem can be done with help of comparing p values also. So, what conclusion we can have? Since the z calculated is that is 2.52 is greater than 1.645, we reject H naught, that is mu 1 equal to mu 2 at the alpha equal to 0.05 level, and conclude that adding new ingredient to the paint significantly reduce the drying time. Since we reject null hypothesis, we are going to accept alternative hypothesis that says that the new ingredient is reducing the drying time. Alternatively, we can find the p value for this test. So, because it is a right tail test, the p value should be 1 minus when calculated z 5 value is 2.52 corresponding probability. So, we got 0.0059. I will verify this with the help of Python how we got this 0.0059. See these 0.0s we are comparing with the alpha. So, when we have to reject therefore H naught mu 1 equal to mu 2 would be rejected at any significance level alpha is greater than 0.0059. What is happening here? The value of p is very less. So, we have to reject our null hypothesis. So, we have done a Python code for this. First import pandas as PD, import numpy as NP, import math, from scipy import stats. We are going to make one definition here. We are going to define a function, define def, that is a standard syntax, z underscore and underscore p. The variable which we are going to take is x1, x2, sigma 1, sigma 2, n1, n2 with usual notations. Then we will find out z value. Z value is x1 minus x2 square root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. If the value of z is less than 0, then p value is nothing but the actual value, we can read as it is. When the z is, it is like this. If the z value is coming on the left hand side, the p value you can read as it is. But if the z value is positive, we need right side area. So, 1 minus the left side area will give you the right side area. Okay. P equal to 1 minus stat norm dot cdfz. So, print zp. So, this code in your monitor, just you can try this after passing this video, you can verify this answer. So, z underscore and underscore p, just I will supply all the values. In the previous problem, the x1 bar is 121, x2 bar is 112, sigma 1 is 8, sigma 2 is 8, n1 is 10, n2 is 8. What is happening? We are getting the z value is 2.51, that is the z calculated value. Look at this p value. When you go to previous slide, say p value here also we got 0.0059. So, here we get with the help of Python. When we compare with the alpha, this is very small, we are rejecting null hypothesis. Now, we will go to the second category of the problem. So far in the previous problem we know sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square, but this case sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square is unknown, but we are assuming it is equal. There is a concept behind why we are assuming it is equal. Whenever we make comparison, we can compare, or the comparison is meaningful only when the variance of two groups are equal. Like comparing the performance of third year versus fourth year student is, there is no meaning for that. We can compare only the third year student versus another third year students. So, that way the variance has to be equal, then only the comparison will be meaningful. So, the second case with the blue one, sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square unknown. When the unknown, we are going to make another assumption that it is equal. There is another possibility, it is unknown but unequal. We will come to that one in the after some time. First we will go sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square unknown but assumed equal. What are the assumption we are making? Samples are randomly and independently drawn, populations are normally distributed, population variances are unknown but assumed to be equal. The population variance are assumed equal. So, use the two sample standard deviation and pool them to estimate the variance or standard deviation. Use a t value with n1 plus n2 minus 2 degrees of freedom. Actually, what the concept here is, assume that there is a group 1. This variance is S1 square, suppose n1 sample. There is a group 2, the variance is S2 square, this sample size is n2. Suppose since we are assuming population variance are equal, you can pool the variance. How we can do the pool the variance? We can find out the weighted variance that we are going to call as pooled variance. The weighted variance is nothing but, suppose assume that we are going to find out the weighted mean. So, what is the formula for weighted mean? Suppose W1 x1 plus W2 x2 divided by sum of weight W1 plus W2. This is nothing but your weighted mean. Here the weight is nothing but your degrees of freedom. Suppose for the sample 1 the degrees of freedom is n1 minus 1. Here the variance is S1 square plus for sample 2 the weightage is corresponding degrees of freedom S2 square. So, next we have to sum the degrees of freedom n1 minus 1 plus n2 minus 1, that is nothing but n1 plus n2 minus 2. So, this is nothing but the pooled variance. The test statistics for mu1 minus mu2 is, say previously we have used z, now we are using t, x1 bar minus x2 bar minus mu1 minus mu2 root of sp square by n1 plus sp square by n2. Since sp square is same, we can bring left hand side, that is nothing but pooled variance. That pooled variance is, see that n1 minus 1 s1 square plus n2 minus 1 s2 square divided by n1 plus n2 minus 2 degrees of freedom. You see that here the degrees of freedom is n1 plus n2 minus 2. When we do the population mean standard deviation as unknown, here also there is a possibility. See, this test is left tail test, this is right tail test, this is a two tail test. In the next slides, see that if the minus t alpha, alpha this one, this is a left tail test, this is the right tail test, middle one, the right hand side was the two tail test. We will take one problem where sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square unknown assumed equal. Two catalysts are being analyzed to determine how they affect the mean yield of a chemical process. Specifically, catalyst 1 is currently in use, but catalyst 2 is acceptable. Since catalyst 2 is cheaper, it should be adopted providing it does not change the process yield. A test run in the pilot plant and the result in the data shown in the table. Is there any difference between mean yields? Use alpha equal to 0.05 and assume equal variances. By looking at this problem, you see that how it is given the variance are equal, nowhere the population variance is given. So, we should go for two sample t test assuming equal variance. As usual, the step 1 is we have to see which parameter of the population we are studying, whether mean or variance. Now, it is a mean. So, the parameter of interest are mu1 and mu2, the mean process yield using catalyst 1 and 2 respectively, and we want to know if mu1 minus mu2 equal to 0. So, H naught is mu1 minus mu2 equal to 0. So, H1 is mu1 not equal to mu2, alpha 0.05. The test statistics T0 x1 bar minus x2 bar minus the difference in the mean, assumed mean, SP. This is actually SP square was inside, we brought left side. So, it is the pooled standard deviation root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by 2. So, what will happen when we look at the say statistical table, when 14 degrees of freedom, because it is a two tail. So, since it is two tail, so this area is 0.025, this area is 0.025. When 14 degrees of freedom, the right hand side value is 2.145, I am writing here at the bottom, it is 2.145, the left hand side it is minus 2.145, it is symmetric. So, positive and negative. From the previous slide, we have the mean of sample 1 is 92.255 and standard deviation of the sample 1 is 2.39 for n1 equal to 8. Similarly, for the sample 2, the sample mean is 92.733, standard deviation is 2.98 and n2 is 8. Therefore, first we will find the pooled variance by using the formula n1 minus 1 s1 square plus n2 minus 1 s2 square divided by n1 plus n2 minus 2. After substituting this value, we are getting 7.30. We can take the square root of that, we will get the standard deviation. So, use 2.70 in this t formula, we are getting minus 0.35. Obviously, we have to locate, this is the rejection region. So, what we are concluding, since minus 2.145 is less than that what we are got the value is going on the left hand side, that is minus 0.35. The calculated t value is minus 0.35. So, in this the minus 0.35 will be the acceptance side. So, we have to accept null hypothesis. So, what is happening? Minus 0.35, the null hypothesis cannot be rejected, that is at the 5% level of significance we do not have strong evidence to conclude that the catalyst 2 result in a mean yield that differs from mean yield when catalyst 1 is used. So, now with the help of Python, when sigma 1 square sigma 2 square unknown, assuming equal variance, we will solve the problem. Previously I am taking the b equal to, I am assigning into an object b, I have taken an array, a I have taken the next one. So, when you stats dot t test underscore independent, you call that array a comma b equal variance underscore equal to true, right. It can be true or false. The next after some time we will solve that problem. When it is a true, directly we are getting, you see that the test statistics minus 0.35. So, the p value is 0.72. So, we have to accept our null hypothesis. We can see how we got minus 2.144 also stats.t.ppf if you want to know the t value 0.025 when 14 degrees of freedom. So, we can compare t values also, see that. So, when you see that one, so the t value is minus 2.14, but our test statistics minus 0.35, it is lying on the acceptance region, we are accepting our null hypothesis. Dear students, so far what we have seen, we are comparing hypothesis testing for 2 sample. We have seen 3 types of problems. Number 1 is sigma 1 square sigma 2 square is known, then we have compared the mean. Another type of problem is sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square is unknown and we have assumed equal variance. We have done the z test and we have done the t test, and also I have explained the concept behind of standard deviation of the difference of the 2 population variance. So, what is the concept there? If you want to know the difference of the 2 population variance, you have to add the variance. If you want to know the difference of the 2 population mean, just you can find the difference of the population mean. In the next class, we will take a new problem where sigma 1 square sigma 2 square unknown, but if it is unequal variance. With that we will start in the next class. Thank you very much.